The Aaron's AA team makes getting the name brand furniture, electronics, and appliances you need easy and affordable. We're talking top brands like HP, Samsung, GE, Beautyrest, and so many more. Take them home today, then make low monthly payments until they're yours for good. Aaron's great rent-to-own deals even come with easy approvals and free delivery. That's Aaron's, the rent-to-own power of the AA team.
You're in the place where mysteries and the missing meet, where conspiracies lurk around every corner. Welcome to the Deep, Dark Truth.
Welcome back to the Deep Dark Truth. I'm Mo.
I'm Mo, and I wish we had a video recording of Mo.
And I'm the actual Mo.
The much replaceable.
And now, a word from our sponsor, Podgo.
Today's episode is presented by Podgo. Podgo is the easiest way for you to monetize your podcast, like us, providing podcasters with a flat rate for ad space so you will always know how much you get when you include an ad from Podgo. Apply today to become a member and immediately be connected with advertisers that fit your audience. Like you, you're our audience. That's podgo.co. That's Podgo.co. Mo won't let me spell that out with actual words like Papa, Oscar, Delta, Gamma, Oscar, period, Charlie, Oscar. And be sure to add our podcast in the How Did You Hear About Podgo section, because you heard about it here. Back to you, Mikey.
All right, so on today's episode, we are going to cover various CIA projects that were eventually declassified. Why they have the most bizarre names, we will never know, but let's dive in.
This is Proven Conspiracies, Part 2.
All right, the first one we're going to talk about is Project Artichoke. Yummy. Not so much. Really fucked up? Absolutely. Are we shocked? Absolutely not.
Oh.
I was going to say, if you say absolutely, I swear, you have not been on this show.
So Project Artichoke would start on August 20th, 1951, and would research interrogation and mind control.
Classic.
Right?
So very MK Ultra
Man who stared goats.
esque.
Don't get ahead of yourself now, Mo. All right.
Oh.
This project would acquire information from the Navy, the Air Force, the Army, and the FBI. So all of them working together, the CIA with those three branches and the FBI. The main objective was to see if it was possible to make a person involuntarily carry out an assassination. Main objective.
As you do.
I mean, very typical CIA, right?
I'd be confused if they weren't.
So, in January of 1952, a memo stated that, and I quote, "Can we get control of an individual to the point where he will do our bidding against his will and even against fundamental laws of nature, such as self-preservation?" End
It's
quote.
just the phrase "our bidding."
I know this because we did briefly state it in MK
In
Ultra.
MK Ultra, yeah.
Project Artichoke is the foundation upon which MK Ultra was built.
Yes, Mo, yes. This project would study hypnosis, isolation, forced morphine addiction, and subsequent withdrawal from it, LSD, cocaine, marijuana, heroin, peyote, and mescaline. Does this all sound familiar?
Yeah, it sounds like most of the drugs my grandma was on in the 60s, to be honest.
You forgot speed.
For legal purposes, that was a joke. It wasn't a joke. It wasn't a joke.
Allegedly.
No, she's dead. She doesn't care. She wants me to tell everyone.
Okay, so this is kind of like a segue, basically. So in 1952, LSD would be increasingly given, to unknowing CIA agents to determine its effects. One record states that the agent was given LSD for 77 days straight
Jesus
under
Christ.
Project Artichoke. 77 days straight.
Question.
Yeah.
Sorry that I already have questions.
No, you're good.
So MK Ultra, eventually Frank Olson was LSD'd against his will.
Mhm.
It led to his death. It's a whole thing. Were these agents in Artichoke, were they aware that they were taking LSD?
No.
Great.
It was a key word in all of them it was unknowingly. That was the whole mission, the objective, everything. They had to take out you're aware that you're taking this, or you're aware that this is going on.
If it wasn't evil, it's good science.
Yeah.
So how were they dosed then? Or did they just think they were taking something else?
It was literally like slipped into their beverages, slipped into their food, from what I understand.
You can't get good free LSD nowadays. You know what I mean?
Back in my day, 77 days.
Yeah.
Government grade.
So most of these CIA agents don't have much to report on because of their vague memories, and amnesia was extremely common amongst them. They don't even know what they experienced, basically. They were very much out of it the entire time. And it wasn't just LSD. You saw the entire list they were, subject
Everything.
to. I mean, yeah, peyote and mescaline, all those things can be extremely intense, even out-of-body experience.
One time, my grandma thought she was on mescaline. This is a true story.
Allegedly,
Dead ass.
it was a dream.
My grandma and my aunt, my great aunt, who are both in the sky, I guess, they thought that they were in basically the grease car going to the sky because they were on mescaline. So I 100% believe that they have no recollection of it. In that case, my grandma did, but, she wasn't mixing drugs, and she was also ingesting drugs of her own free will.
I knew that it was happening.
Yeah, wasn't just being dosed in who knows what amounts by somebody else.
I think there's something wrong with this burger, guys.
I feel like people don't think about that a lot of us, our grandparents were hippies.
Yep. So, as I'm sure you guys can understand, Project Artichoke was never, ever stopped or disbanded or anything. It turned into MK Ultra. It basically was the segue. I believe MK Ultra started in 1953 or even late 1952. So, Artichoke started in 1951, would run for a year or two before they realized that the direction that they wanted to go in was slightly different and decided to call it MK Ultra.
I don't understand why they bothered to change the name. It's just the same thing.
Yeah.
I think because they just expanded the program. It sounds like 100%. They were just it's getting a new name.
I'm high as a kite, and I like naming things.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
That's what it is. And MK Ultra sounds so much better than Artichoke. And then I thought to myself, why Artichoke? And then I thought it was because these people are fucking vegetables.
They were fucking the vegetables?
No, they were just not coherent. They didn't know what was going on. It was just...
Is that why?
I don't
or
know.
Is that your conjecture?
That was my conjecture. Why else? Where does Artichoke come in?
I feel like a lot of the time they just pick a name. They don't actually think about it.
This is not a criticism of Mikey. Do we still say vegetable?
I mean,
it feels like maybe
it feels
we shouldn't.
wrong. It feels completely wrong.
I'm not sure what.
You just have to pick a word, because obviously you're going to embed a secret meaning in your word, because that's fun.
Yeah.
So they have to stop themselves from doing it.
Yeah, it's a vegetative state.
Somebody saying they're in a vegetative state is purely scientific and observatory, but to call them a vegetable is totally different.
I also think it's different if it is you're just coked out of your head versus you are actually in a coma.
Right.
I'm still a little shaky on it at all, but if they were strapped to a bed unconscious, so many drugs, that's worse than...
Yes.
Because if they were just living lives, right? They weren't just kept in a box.
I didn't find the information on when it was declassified, though.
I'm going to guess that it was declassified when MK Ultra
Probably
was declassified. For more on MK Ultra, see Proven Conspiracies Part 1. We talked about the committees that were formed that led to the discovery of MK Ultra. And basically MK Ultra was only discovered because somebody poorly filed something that was supposed to be burned. They tried to burn all the files. So we only have so much information, and I'm guessing that's where the information from Project Artichoke also comes from.
All right, let's move on to our second one we're going to discuss tonight. This one is called Project Devil Eyes. With a name like that, it's got to be good, right?
It'll be disappointing.
It's scandalous.
I want it to be about cryptids, but I know it's not going to be. I don't know what it is unless you start talking and I recognize it.
Okay.
Right off the bat, I do not.
Okay.
But we'll
did not
see.
know about this one either. Project Devil Eyes, this was a project that was actually a psychological warfare program that was kept hush-hush in 2005 and 2006 until it would be later acknowledged publicly.
Wait, that recent? What? And it's declassified? What?
Yes. So it was kept hush-hush in 2005 and 2006, but it would be later acknowledged publicly by the CIA in 2014. So wasn't necessarily declassified, but like acknowledged that this happened and it did exist.
Something's wrong. Someone fucked up.
So if it was a warfare program, what was it and who was the target, right? The program closely worked with the father of G.I. Joe toys and a previous Hasbro executive, Donald Levine.
Okay, I'm on two different tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if either of them are correct.
Mm-hmm.
One of them involves dropping actual toys in other countries that we're at war with to spy on people. The other one involves the exact same things, but with bombs in them.
That was my thought. Or
one is a lot more horrific than the other. Both
very bad.
Plausible, and I know that at least one is true.
Both are more believable and horrific than it actually is.
Is it we're gonna program toys and sell them to our own citizens, and we're gonna use those toys? G.I. Joe will hypnotize your child into carrying out my mission, our bidding.
No, but like my first thought when I was reading about this was toy soldiers. Do you guys remember the movie Toy Soldiers?
Listen to me. I am not scared by movies, period.
Uh-huh.
If you grew up loving Toy Story, if Toy Story was one of your favorite movies, and then very shortly after you were watching Toy Story, you were watching this movie.
Small Soldiers.
You know.
Toy Soldiers, Small Soldiers, what was it called? Small Soldiers?
Oh, God. Maybe it was Small Soldiers.
I was obsessed with it when I was a kid. I had all the action figures. And I loved Archer. I was obsessed, and I had Oculus. I am not naming them all, but I could.
It is called Small Soldiers.
Small Soldiers.
And it's basically Toy Story, but it's your worst nightmare. It isn't quite to the level of Chucky.
I was going to say, is this just Chucky?
It's worse. The government put chips in millions of these, and then the chips went awry, and they sent a, like, hostile kill everything in sight type thing. Like, turn the chip to be hostile.
Are you saying that Devil Eyes isn't this? Because I feel like Devil's Eyes is this.
Devil Eyes is not this.
Kirsten Dunst.
Yes, Kirsten Dunst.
Yes, Kirsten Dunst, Gregory Smith, Jay Moore, Phil Hartman.
Who's the guy? The short guy with the glasses?
Dennis Leary and Tommy Lee Jones. That was the cast for this movie.
Sarah Michelle Gellar?
Was she in that?
On the wiki, she was like the last one listed.
She is one of the voice of one of the characters, one of the good soldiers, I think. Yeah.
Anyways, we stand Archer. Continue.
Yes. So Levine would go on to design a toy for the CIA. We'd already talked about this, but I had put in my notes that, this had sent me flashbacks about this movie. But Levine would go on to design a 12-inch lifelike figure of Osama bin Laden.
Why?
Are we getting to voodoo?
The face would be painted with a material that when heat was near it or on it, it would peel off to reveal a demon-like persona with red skin, demonic black markings, and green eyes.
Jesus Christ.
Wait, so is the idea behind this that we have these toys, we put them in the hands of people in the Middle East, and then they start to associate Osama bin Laden with the devil? Because that feels very what Christianity did to pagans with Pan.
It certainly feels very similar.
Would you be shocked that America would do something like that?
Do I seem shocked right now?
You're 100% correct, Mo. That was the goal. The goal of the design and project was to terrify children and their parents in order to create fear and turn public opinion against Al-Qaeda and bin Laden. They would distribute these dolls all over Southeast Asia, mainly targeting Afghanistan and Pakistan by using contacts in China through Levine to help produce and distribute them.
I'm just not sure they were into buying action figures of Osama bin Laden. There's a big flaw in step one, is that you have to get them into the people's hands.
From what I understand and what I read, and Stan, I could be corrected, but they were going to give them away. Like, they were just going to drop them and like...
Here's some action figures that have fallen from the sky.
Right.
The thing is, like I said, it's tale as old as time. The imagery of the devil is modeled after the god Pan, another
amalgamation.
An amalgamation, thank you, Chip, of these different pagan gods so that we would associate them with evil things. And it worked. It obviously worked.
Yep.
Just feels it's such a short line between, here's the action figure, oh god, its face is scary. That's it.
I weirdly don't feel horrible about this just because he was a terrorist. If they were doing it against a political figure that was just a political figure to sway things, I don't feel great about it. But I equally am not horrified. Does that make sense?
I just don't think it was effective. It's too short term.
Yeah, I mean...
It has no follow-through. This is not a long con.
Did they end up sending them?
My whole thing when I was going through this that I couldn't find out was the heat thing.
Well, will you touch it?
It wasn't real clear. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Well, like, when you touch it, when sunlight hits it, when heat is applied to it, like... What does
it's real
heat
fucking
mean?
hot there, but...
I'm guessing all of the above. All I can think of is the color-changing bowls of our childhood. Like, obviously, we still have color-changing mugs, but you remember the ones you would get, like, by cashing in your cereal box points or whatever, that were plastic, and they would change colors, and they had a straw on the bowl for some reason, so you could drink your cereal milk.
Yeah.
Man, the 90s were wild.
I guess it was a specific paint that reacted to heat. So it must have been touch, is what I'm assuming is what they were going for.
And that's a good...
I'm assuming touch was the lowest level, but then also if it were to heat up by some other means, it would probably work just
Or if it
as
sat
well.
out in the sun, I'm sure it would probably change or whatever.
It's just that you don't want the face to fall off before they have it.
Right.
They need to have played with it for a hot minute before it falls off.
Yeah, were they keeping them in a freezer? What if the truck got hot they were on?
Fucking Afghanistan, it's very hot.
What is the plan?
You're like giving it out and before it even turns. You know what I mean?
It's
like,
just you're giving out devils.
Yeah, dressed like Osama bin Laden.
There's no follow through on this plan.
It's still not clear.
Okay, but collector's item?
Yeah, you guys are good. You guys are good.
We've been doing this for a minute,
Yeah,
Mikey.
apparently.
I want to know, Mikey has not let us look at anything. We're not allowed. We were told.
I also have the pictures. Do you guys want to see the pictures of the dolls?
Why am I not already looking at it?
Okay, whoa. Okay, I gotcha. It's actually terrifying.
For once, it's the point. Oh, God. It's small, but I already hate it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is actually disappointing.
I get Khal Drogo vibes from this. I don't even get... like devil, like it looks like indigenous war paint of some kind.
It reminds me of
like...
Darth Maul from Star Wars.
Oh god, it's exactly that had come out already. This is exactly that. They knew what they were doing. It's disappointing. You're better than the CIA.
Yeah,
for sure. Darth Maul.
You give me Project Artichoke, but then you give me this.
It's exactly what I thought of when I first looked at it. Was Darth Maul.
And of course, you can find the link to our blog in the show notes and go ahead and take a peek at this for yourself and let us know if you think it's Darth Maul. It's definitely Darth Maul.
If you say no, you're wrong.
But like, I guess still share your opinion. We're a sharing kind of show.
Shame yourself by telling us.
We love telling people how wrong they are.
Well, if
they haven't even said anything yet, and we're like, it's Darth Maul. That's the answer.
That's the answer. Done. So, allegedly, they stopped after only 3 prototypes were created.
How much money went into these 3 prototypes? Please, do we have...
I don't know, but I have other figures for you. But I don't know. However, an anonymous tip came to the Washington Post from someone in China that was directly involved in the knowledge of the product. They claim that hundreds were made and shipped to Pakistan in 2006.
So they're saying we only made 3 prototypes.
Right. Yeah. Like they never kind of went through with it. A prototype, though, was auctioned off in 2014 for $11,879, followed by another prototype in 2015 for $6,250.
These are shockingly cheap.
Because they don't do anything. Just do the reverse. Go buy a Darth Maul doll, okay? And then come back and just paint it your damn self. And you have one of these. That's it.
Absolutely not about the item at all whatsoever, and you know it. It's about having
true.
a doll the CIA made as a
Correct.
warfare.
Which would be really cool if it had a microchip or had laser eyes or something, but it's just boring and gonna sit on your shelf, and you're gonna have to explain it to people. It's less fun when you have to explain.
It's true.
Like,
It's a conversation
you have a piece of the Berlin Wall, somebody comes in, you're like, this is my piece of the Berlin Wall. When you're like, oh, that's my Osama bin Laden devil doll, that's a whole
We're making
thing.
an episode about this. We want to tell people about this. Is a conversation piece.
We're not the average consumer.
You're not wrong, but neither are collectors.
That's
That's
true. That's 100% true.
I want somebody to bring this into the show Pawn Stars.
Just so we don't get sued by Hasbro. Hasbro had nothing to do with this.
He's a former.
All right, warning at the top. Hasbro had nothing to do with anything that we're about to talk about right now.
Right.
It was one guy, he worked for them at some point. Unclear if he was still working
He
there.
was a rogue Hasbro agent. He was going against orders.
This cannot be the thing.
Who made Furby?
Probably this
It was
guy.
probably Hasbro,
I
honestly.
feel like it's Hasbro. This can be solved very easily.
Chip, get on
It
that.
could be.
All I know is that if you told me that Furbies were spies and that they had artificial intelligence and were plotting our demise, I would believe you.
I would 100% believe
Everyone already knows it. There's nothing to tell. It was made by Tiger Electronics, which was then bought by Hasbro.
it. So you were kind of correct. Have you guys ever seen these people who make acquire a Furbies, put them together and they make them talk and synchronizing?
I have seen that, but it was like 6 years ago,
Mhm.
and I watched some guy literally programming them, and it just, the whole process looked terrifying.
Yeah.
I blocked it out until you
Furbies are
mentioned it.
kind of creepy now that I look back at it. I was a weird
Yeah?
kid for collecting them.
Where you been, bud?
I thought they were cute as shit when I was a kid. I used to
You're
collect
the
them.
only one on Earth.
My sisters are 6 and 9 years younger than me. My middle sister, I was just a little too old for that Furby age. It was like admire the Furby from afar. Some kids in my age had them. In the opinion of Tiny Moe, we are too old for that. But my middle sister had one, and in the middle of the night, it would be doing some shit, like every night. And I was so sure it was cursed, I would like throw it in her closet. I would get up, go to her room, take the Furby. It would be open its eyes and be staring at me all creepy, and I would throw it in her closet and cover it with clothes. I was like 12.
The least shocking secret conspiracy in the world would be to find out that Furbies were deliberately terrifying because everyone knew it. Every person who's ever owned one.
Everyone except for Mikey, but Mikey also wants to bang every cryptid we've ever talked about, no matter how creepy looking.
First of all, I want to be offended that I'm older than you and you thought that you were too old for Furbies. But then I realized that I was a 23-year-old who had a Care Bear room, so I don't really have a right to be offended by that.
You guys don't have your Care Bear tattoos yet?
Don't get Mikey started on the ass tattoo, Chip.
I've already talked to someone about it, actually, yesterday. But anywho, regardless of whether I'm offended or not, I am finding that exact same Kirby that your sister had, and I'm going to plant it places.
In my head, I don't know if this is an accurate representation, because I'm not kidding when I say I blocked most of this out. It was the same colors as Sully from Monsters Inc. Like, it was
Blue and
light
purple.
blue with like dark blue spots or purple
Or had a purple
spots.
beard.
It was very...
I bet that existed.
Except for Sully's adorable. The Furby is not.
Side note, but Mike Wazowski scares the fuck out of me because I used to have a real legitimate fear of green eyes. And, like, I'm serious, like, a really legitimate fear.
Saying it was real and legitimate doesn't make it more legitimate.
Well, I don't have that fear anymore, but I did as a kid. I was deathly scared of, like, bright green eyes. Not like hazel eyes or whatever, but, like, if somebody had bright green eyes, I, like, would scream.
Who hurt you?
I don't
Whoever
know.
dated someone with green eyes, are you sure you're okay
No.
with this?
It sounds like you should see a hypnotist about that. It
Mo
sounds
can
like
hook you up.
there is something in your subconscious that did that.
I
to you as a
100%
child.
agree. I don't know why or how, but it was always been like that. Like, I didn't watch Monsters, Inc. until I was an adult. because I couldn't get past it. I almost quit my job at Blockbuster when they put him up on the wall.
I'm so sorry.
Welcome back to emotional trauma with Mikey.
They took it down because of me. This is a true story you heard, straight from the source.
It's just one of many true stories. To hear more about Mikey's criminal background, please visit our Patreon.
Oh, no.
There's also a special teaser of Mikey and Bigfoot coming up.
I didn't even
Subscribe
see the
now.
connection. They put green eyes on Osama bin Laden. Maybe it's just that some villains have green eyes or bad things have green eyes. And that's what my
Scar's whole
association
aesthetic is green and black.
Maybe your mom said the green-eyed monster talking about jealousy a little too much.
was. Maybe that
And it
could have
just
been too. I don't know.
psychologically affected you.
Were you a very literal child? How long was your literal phase?
I don't know. I was very quiet as a child. I was a weird, quiet child from what I understand. So, in conclusion, we knew that there was at least 2 prototypes. It's rumored that the CIA owns a third and is not going to release that to public anytime soon.
What is it, like 60 years? Some of us might still be alive.
For real. I am unsurprised. I am interested to learn about it, but again, I feel like me and Chip really cleaned house on that one. You
really did. You got the first part, and he immediately went straight to the second part. But he always gets the capitalism aspect to everything.
I mean,
Chip.
That's fair.
the real conspiracy was the capitalism we met along the way. But also, I'm hugely disappointed in this one. This was not well
I
thought
thought
out.
it was extremely interesting, though. I didn't know about it, and I figured I would have heard about it in 2005, 2006, or even in 2014 or 15 when the information came out.
I'm not surprised we didn't hear about it when it happened, but definitely I
Right.
should have heard about this when the
Right.
one got auctioned.
And does anybody else ever feel like they could just do it so much better? Like, hear me out. The same doll, except for it's just a doll. It's just a regular doll. It has a GPS microchip in it, so then you know where children live. So that when you go and bomb places, you don't bomb houses with children.
You
I know. Listen,
But-
I know how naive I am. I'm just
You
saying.
got so close and then you swerved.
I'm just saying it'd be a better use of technology and giving children's dolls.
But also, if you're trying to do the weird scaring thing, this isn't the way to do it. You put a microchip in there that has it speak weird phrases at random, or specifically in the middle of the night when it knows it is in the dark.
It's a stuffed animal and it has a pull string now. Like my Bart Simpson I had as a kid, and you pulled his ass and he said, "Eat my shorts."
But this one's Hail Satan?
Yeah.
Hail Darth Maul!
Hail Darth Maul. Yes, I love it.
For the ones who know that a little late is always too late, and that the clock doesn't stop just because you're missing a part, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. And our Keep Stock inventory management solutions help ensure you have the right stuff in the right place at exactly the right time. Visit Grainger.com/keepstock to learn more. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
All right, we're on a roll.
We're on our third and final project here that we're going to discuss on this episode. This one is Acoustic Kitty. Some of you may have heard of it. Some of you may have not.
Have you heard of it, Chip?
I have not heard of
Oh,
any of
Chip.
Oh,
this.
Chip has not heard of it. Oh, okay. So it sounds like it would be a Pussycat Dolls acoustic cover duo. That's what I'm picturing in my head.
Or a spin-off band.
It's definitely not what it is. It is definitely another declassified project from the CIA. So Acoustic Kitty was a project they launched in the 60s that basically involved surgically implanting a series of audio devices into felines. Cat cyborgs, if you will. It was disclosed in 2001 when the CIA declassified some documents.
It gets so good. I'm having so much trouble containing myself.
I'm sure you have a lot of questions. First, let's go over the how. In a roughly hour procedure, veterinarian surgeons, they would implant a microphone in the cat's ear canal, then would implant a radio transmitter into the base of their skull, and then finally run very thin antenna wires throughout its fur.
They were making cats spies.
Cat spies.
I'm not kidding. They were making cat spies.
They were making cat cyborg spies.
Nobody suspects a cat of being a spy. That part is true.
What was the name? It was very on the nose.
Acoustic Kitty.
Okay, that's not what it actually was called. That's what we're calling it now, because there's no way they use something so literal and obvious.
It's Acoustic Kitty. That's what it is. I want the guy. I want to have him on our podcast. Whoever created these names of these projects, I want to pick his brain. Doing this would allow the cat to inconspicuously record and transmit sound from its surroundings. Hence, it's a spy. It's a kitty spy. Sounds pretty cool if you're into cats, which I am one for not. This actually terrifies me even more, and now I have an even more realized fear of cats and their lurking about ways.
Fair.
I already do not trust cats on any level. Like 1 to 100, I'm going with 1.5.
Excuse you, he's a big cat, Mikey Exotic.
Chip, I am so, I don't even know.
I just declared war on Mikey.
Yes, I had a friend who I still fight with on a daily basis who's like, you have a fear of cats because you are one. You are legit a cat. Everything you do is a cat. You are a spirit animal's a cat. You were a cat before, you will be a cat in your afterlife. And I was like...
Till the day you die, you'll be a cat, and then you'll be a dead cat.
Screw Trey. Screw you, Trey.
Funny you say that he will be a cat and then he will be a dead cat. Mikey, why don't you keep on going with the story?
Let's go back to the Furby. Let's talk about Star Wars Episode 1.
So, second, let's discuss the why. If you came to the conclusion that they would be utilized these cats for spying, you'd be correct. And given the authority on the matter, it shouldn't come as much of a shock. We already kind of gathered all that. But next we move to the who and the where. So who is the target, and where do we deploy these acoustic kitties? The answer may not come as much of a shock either. It happened to be the Kremlin and Soviet embassies. We're going to fight Soviet spies with kitty spies.
Anywhere that there are stray cats, there are now robot cats.
Right.
Cyborg cats. Different.
Now that we got the basics down, let's discuss the first mission, some challenges, and some other fun facts.
Can I just call it now? The reason this isn't gonna work out is because cats are fucking noisy. You have to record the cat's noise and then the noise above it.
I never even thought about that. And that's not discussed at all. Great job, Chip.
CIA, hire me.
That's not the reason why we don't make spy cats.
That's not the reason they admit to.
So the first mission was to eavesdrop on two men just outside a Soviet compound in a park in Washington, D.C. The cat was released nearby on Wisconsin Avenue and was allegedly killed by a taxi pretty much immediately after its release.
That's also the other reason.
I don't know why I'm laughing, because it's sad, but I find it so comedic that they would spend so much time and energy in the CIA and go through this surgery and put all these implants in and for you to release it, and then it just crosses the street and not make it across the street.
Mikey, please, I can't contain myself. Can I talk about how much money it took to make the kitty?
Absolutely. I don't have that in my notes at all.
The emotional trauma that you're about to inflict on me is priceless.
So, the cat, unfortunately, was hit by a car, as you have just learned. But it took, in the year, I think it was 1960, it was in the 60s, $20 million for this project.
That's the 1960 money.
In 1960 money, it cost about $20 million to make this cat a spy that immediately got hit by a taxi. It is not the single, but it is one of the worst ways that we have ever wasted taxpayer dollars is this project. I am so passionate about what a waste this entire thing was.
Can I please have the translated number to 2021 money?
It was in the end of my notes. I'm sorry, Mo, it was. But that was just the one cat. That's not the cost of what this project was or what went into it.
Really?
Because we'll get there. We'll get there. But
20 million is about 180 million, 500,000 ish dollars. It's somewhere in there.
CIA, hire me. You're bad at this.
Though I do want to say that the cat being allegedly hit, like, immediately was disputed by a former director.
So it gets better. In 2013, Robert Wallace, who was a former director of technical service, said the project was abandoned due to its behavior. He goes on to say the equipment was removed, the cat was re-sewn up, and lived a long and happy life.
He's lying.
That sounds fake.
Allegedly.
As the person who wants to
So
believe.
my whole thing is, well, no shit. They're cats. They're going to do whatever the fuck they want. Like, you choose cats to be your, like, spy, like, not a dog that can be easily trained.
The dogs are busy sniffing bombs.
Cats don't give fucks. They don't care. You can't train them.
Specifically, like, indoor cats are enough if they don't want to listen to you. Outdoor cats are a whole other level. They're like, no man owns me. I've never even met a man that I like.
Because they have to survive. Mikey, you don't think you're a cat?
No.
But most outdoor cats don't need to survive. I know tons of people that they bought indoor cats, what they thought was indoor cats. And the cat just is an escape artist, wants to be outside.
Outside cats have significantly shorter lives than an indoor cat because they're dead. Because cars and coyotes and everything exists.
But they're also better at maneuvering outside and maneuvering those environments and those surroundings because of it.
Not very good at it.
Yeah. Better than a house cat. Apparently the farthest that they got, and it's not in my notes, but the farthest that they got with training these cats was short distances. That the only successful thing that came out of this project was getting cats short distances. Like maybe from like one room to the house to the other or across the street or something. Like they trained it to be able to do that. But then there would be no control afterwards.
Yeah. And a person would have to be in that building and drop off the spy cat, which kind of takes away the whole advantage of having cat spies that people aren't paying attention to if somebody's lurking around trying to wrangle the cat into a room. Like, go in there. There's just tuna fish in the middle of the floor of a hotel. Like, I don't understand.
No, you're sitting in a room and there's a window and out of the corner of your eye you see a string come down. And there's
Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf.
You're walking in the woods. There's no one around and your cat is dead.
Oh, no.
I never found the reasons, if it was one way or another, if this cat survived and multiple tests would go on afterwards, or that cat died and they tried it again with another cat.
I'm certain they tried it again.
Or cats.
They're bad at making decisions.
But multiple tests would be done over time and they would all fail due to the difficulty and inability of training the cats, but also the environmental factors that made this project highly impractical. And I think that also would also go back to what Chip was saying about sound and cats and
it's very noisy.
They're constantly making internal noises. I never really even thought about that.
Yeah, the microphone is right fucking there.
Yeah.
God forbid it's in heat.
Shortly after, though, in 1967, they would dismantle the project, costing them over $20 million. I'm sure it's beyond that. And that was according to former CIA officer Victor Marchetti. 1967. So it seems like this ran for a few years. It wasn't just like a one cat was killed thing. I don't think that necessarily happened. Or if it did, they continued. They made more cat cyborgs.
Well, just figuring out and trying to perfect how they were going to implement the microphone, I'm sure took a lot of time and money.
And cats.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about that? I hate this one. Let's go back to the Phantom Menace.
Also, to go back, I'm not a cat, Chip. If anything, I'm like one of those smelly marsupials. Like I'm an otter. I'm a ferret. I'm a minx. I
don't think you know what a marsupial is.
Not marsupial. That's not what I meant. Sorry.
Marsupials are horror machines. The platypus.
I love platypus, okay?
I love them, but they're nightmare creatures.
Platypus, one day we are going to do an episode entirely on things that were considered cryptids and then were not cryptids, and a platypus is one.
That's top of the list.
I would love that episode.
It's like, why are you faking this so poorly? You could have at least put some effort in. No, it's real.
That concludes my CIA project.
I greatly enjoyed them.
I did as well.
CIA, you disappoint me greatly. I meant to say this back when we were talking about the first one. This is why I have no doubt that Project Pegasus happened in some way. I just don't think he was actually sent to the moon with Obama. Yes, he absolutely was led to believe he was on the moon with Obama.
And of course, we'll be covering other proven conspiracies in the future. If you have any that you particularly would like covered, go ahead and shoot us an email at thedeepdarktruthpodcast@gmail.com or call or text the tip line at 313-355-3411.
Give us that 411 at 411.
By the time you hear this, it will be very close to me, Chip, and Mikey being together to go visit Mothman, and we are very excited about it.
It's been about 2 years since me and Moe existed in the same place at the same time.
Which is the longest we have went since we've known each other, and it's been very depressing. But we have a whole bunch of things that we're going to try and pack into the time that we are together. So look out for a bunch of things, both on Patreon and here. We'll be doing different campfire stories and things while we're together. Bigfoot ASMR for our patrons. We're going ghost hunting, and we'll be putting that footage on our Patreon as well. So there's a lot of fun things.
If you're going to subscribe for just 1 month, it should be July. You heard it here first, folks.
I think that's probably a fair assessment, although I am going to try and produce some content that we will put out later in the year, especially during spooky season. Although, if we get lucky, we'll be together during spooky season too, which is normally our jam, but we'll see.
We'll see. Let's not hold your breath.
This has been Proven Conspiracies Part 2 with Fake Moe. I'm Real Moe.
I'm Real Moe.
And I'm Fake Mikey.
Great.
The twist we never saw coming. No more dead cats. The platypus is God's conspiracy.
Keep an eye on your toys, kids. Good night.
Yikes.
You just listened to the Deep Dark Truth Podcast. See you next time. And remember, your local cryptids want to meet you.